Okay, let's be real for a second.
Yeah.
We've all seen Terminator, right?
Of course, classic.
And it kind of makes you wonder, what if AI really does take over and makes all our jobs, like, obsolete?
It's a common fear, for sure.
Yeah, but don't worry, we're not going full doomsday on you today.
Definitely not.
Today's deep dive is all about AI and jobs, but we're looking at some actual research.
Right. Real data, not science fiction.
Exactly. And get this, they used AI to analyze AI's impact on jobs.
Yeah, pretty meta, right?
I know, it's so cool.
The paper is called Towards the Terminator Economy.
Catchy title.
Right. And it's brand new, published just this month, December 2024.
So we're talking cutting-edge stuff here.
Absolutely.
Now, what's really fascinating is that these researchers didn't just ask experts for their opinion.
Nope, they went straight to the source.
They used AI itself, specifically something called large language models, or LLMs.
You might have heard of them. They're the brains behind a lot of those AI tools everyone's talking about.
Exactly. And they fed these LLMs a massive amount of data about jobs and skills over 19,000 tasks.
Gave the AI a crash course in what humans actually do for a living.
Yeah, like a robot job fair.
Ha! Something like that.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll know which jobs are most exposed to AI
On what that really means.
and what skills you might want to brush up on for the future.
Think of it as a sneak peek into the future of work.
Okay, so first things first, how did they even measure this whole AI exposure thing?
Well, they used a database called ONET.
OMET. Right.
It's maintained by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Oh, so it's legit?
Oh, yeah. Very comprehensive. It breaks down hundreds of jobs into all the specific tasks involved.
So it's not just about your job title, like doctor or lawyer.
It's about what you actually do on the job, day in and day out.
Got it. So they basically fed these task descriptions to the AI.
Right. Specifically to 3 different LLMs, Mistral, Orca Mini, and OpenChat.
Those are all big names in the AI world, right?
Yeah, leading LLMs.
So they asked these AIs, hey, can you do this task?
Basically. And the AI had to rate each task on a scale of 1 to 5.
5 being like easy peasy.
Exactly. I could do that with my metaphorical robot eyes closed.
So let's get specific here. Give me an example of a task that would get a high AI exposure rating.
Okay, let's say you're an administrative services manager.
Okay, managing stuff.
One of the tasks might be direct or coordinate the supportive services department.
Sounds pretty high level.
It is, and the LLMs gave it a rating of 5.
Wow, so the AI thinks it can manage a whole department.
Seems that way.
Makes you wonder what those human managers are doing all day, huh?
Well, coordinating involves a lot of planning, communicating, delegating.
Right, things AI is getting good at.
Exactly. Especially these LLMs. They can process information, analyze data, even generate human quality text.
Okay, so AI is coming for the managers.
Potentially. But let's look at the other end of the spectrum. What about a task that AI wouldn't be so good at?
Okay, something with a low rating. Still thinking about that administrative services manager.
Sure. Another task might be conduct classes to teach procedures to staff.
Okay, so training new employees. What did the AI think of that?
Only a rating of 2.
Ah, so AI can make a PowerPoint presentation, but not actually teach a class.
Right. It lacks that human touch, the ability to connect with people, adapt to different learning styles.
It's like those awkward substitute teachers we all had in school.
Exactly. AI just isn't there yet.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if the different LLMs disagreed on a rating? Did they just average the scores?
Actually, they had a more cautious approach.
Okay, how so?
If the LLMs didn't all agree on a rating, they always took the lowest score.
So erring on the side of human capability.
Exactly. They weren't overselling AI's abilities.
I like that, giving us humans the benefit of the doubt.
Right. It makes their findings even more interesting.
Okay, so they fed all this data to the AI, got these ratings, but what does it all mean in the big picture? What do they find out about how exposed U.S. jobs are to AI?
Well, the big takeaway is that about a third of U.S. jobs are highly exposed to AI.
A third. Wow, that's a lot.
It is.
But you were saying this isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all. And here's another interesting twist. AI exposure is actually highest in high-skilled jobs.
Wait, really? So we're not just talking about like factory workers and truck drivers being replaced by robots?
It's much more nuanced than that.
So AI is coming for the white-collar jobs now, like
Yeah.
doctors and lawyers and stuff.
Well, not necessarily coming for, but it's definitely impacting those fields too. Think management, finance, ICT, science roles. We're talking about jobs that require a lot of thinking, analyzing, decision-making.
So those brainy jobs are actually more vulnerable to AI. Why is that? I always thought it would be the more repetitive manual jobs that would get automated first.
It makes sense when you think about how AI is evolving. These newer AI systems, especially the LLMs we talked about, they're really good at those cognitive tasks, processing information, learning from data, adapting to new situations.
Okay, starting to see the connection here. So it's not just about strength or speed anymore, it's about brains.
Exactly, and AI is getting pretty brainy.
Okay, so if I'm a high-skilled worker listening to this, should I be worried? Is it time to learn a trade?
Not necessarily. In fact, the paper actually has some pretty optimistic findings.
Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Well, for one thing, when they looked at how different job sectors rank in terms of AI exposure, they found some interesting patterns.
So some sectors are more exposed than others. What kind of patterns are we talking about?
For instance, you've got sectors like finance and insurance that are right up there at the top. Very high AI exposure.
Yeah, makes sense. Lots of numbers, data crunching, decision-making in those fields.
Exactly. But then you've got sectors like education and healthcare that are much lower down on the list.
Interesting. So even within those high-skill categories, there's a lot of variation in AI exposure.
Absolutely. Which is why it's important to look beyond just job titles. You have to dig deeper into the specific skills involved.
Okay, perfect segue. Let's talk skills then. It's not just about what you do, but how you do it, right?
Right. The skills you have are key. And the researchers actually looked into which specific skills were linked to higher or lower AI exposure.
So what did they find? Which skills are like catnip for AI?
Well, not surprisingly, the skills with the strongest positive link to AI were cognitive skills, problem-solving abilities, things like that. Even management skills were up there.
Okay, so the more you think, analyze, strategize, the more likely your job is to attract AI's attention.
Makes sense, right? Those are the things AI is getting good at. But here's the flip side. The researchers also found skills that were negatively linked to AI exposure.
Okay, so these are the schools that actually make AI run away.
Yeah.
Like garlic to a vampire.
You could say that. And
Yeah.
those skills were, drumroll please, social skills.
So things like empathy, communication, collaboration, those are still our domain.
Exactly. It seems AI still struggles with the whole human connection thing.
Well, that's a relief. Maybe I should be spending less time worrying about learning Python and more time working on my small talk.
Maybe there's something to that. In a world with more AI, those social skills, those uniquely human abilities, they might become even more valuable.
I like that. It's like AI is forcing us to be more human.
In a way, yeah. It's not just about being a good coder or analyst anymore. It's about being able to work with humans, A&D AI, to bridge that gap.
It's almost like we need to become AI whisperers.
Huh? Maybe we do. Okay, we've talked about jobs, we've talked about skills, but let's be practical here. What about the bottom line? Wages and employment. Is all this AI exposure going to mean people lose their jobs or maybe make more money? What do the researchers find? And this is where things get really interesting. They found that, contrary to a lot of people's fears, AI exposure is actually positively linked to both wage growth and employment growth.
Wait, seriously? So the more exposed your job is to AI, the more likely you are to get a raise A&D, keep your job. That seems counterintuitive.
It does, but that's what the data shows, at least in the medium term. They looked at 4-year rolling windows from 2003 to 2019, and that pattern held up.
So it's not like AI is coming in and stealing everyone's jobs. Maybe it's actually making those jobs more valuable.
Yeah, like AI is a productivity booster, freeing up humans to focus on more complex, higher-value tasks. But it's important to note, this is a medium-term analysis.
So the long-term effects are still a bit of a mystery.
Exactly. A lot can change in the world of AI.
Well, this is definitely giving me a lot to think about. So more AI might mean more jobs, higher wages. But what about the long term? Is this AI-powered utopia sustainable?
That's a great question, and one we're going to explore further in the final part of this deep dive.
All right, so AI might actually boost our careers, at least for now.
That's what the research suggests, yeah.
That's a lot to process, honestly. Still feels like we're on the edge of like a sci-fi movie or something.
I get it. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
But one thing that's really sticking with me is this idea that AI is a tool.
It is, at the end of the day. Just like any tool, it can be used for good or bad, right?
Exactly. It's not about being scared of AI. It's about understanding it, figuring out how to use it effectively, ethically, all that.
Absolutely. The more we understand AI, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this whole new world of work.
Right. So knowledge is power, especially when it comes to AI.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not just about understanding the tech itself, it's about those bigger questions too, like how AI impacts society, the economy, even just the way we think about work itself.
Yeah, it's like AI is forcing us to rethink everything.
It is. And those are big, complex conversations we need to be having, figuring out how we want to shape the future with AI.
I mean, we've been talking about this research paper. It's full of data and analysis. It's not just speculation, right?
Exactly. It's a great starting point for those conversations, giving us a real glimpse into what the future of work could look like.
And speaking of the future,
Mm.
we left off on a bit of a cliffhanger. The researchers couldn't say for sure whether AI would ultimately complement or replace human workers in those jobs that are really exposed to it.
Yeah, the million-dollar question, right? Is AI going to be our coworker or our replacement?
So, any guesses? What do you think, based on everything we've talked about?
Honestly, I don't think there's an easy answer. AI is evolving so fast it's impossible to predict with certainty. But I do think there are a few key factors that will shape the outcome.
Okay, so no crystal ball. But what are those factors? What should we be paying attention to?
Well, the pace of AI development is a big one. If AI keeps advancing at its current rate, it'll be able to do more and more tasks that humans currently do. But here's the catch. Even if AI can do a job, that doesn't automatically mean it will.
Hold on, I'm intrigued. So it's not just about what AI is capable of. There's more to it than that.
Exactly. It's about how businesses and organizations choose to use AI. Do they see it as a way to work alongside humans, make us more efficient, more productive? Or do they see it as a way to just cut costs and get rid of human workers altogether?
So it's not just about the tech, it's about the human decisions behind it.
Exactly. And those decisions, they're going to be based on a whole bunch of things: cost, efficiency, hopefully some ethical considerations too.
Ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole other deep dive waiting to happen.
It is a big topic. But for now, I think the most important thing to remember is this. We have a choice. We can choose to see AI as this big, scary threat, something to be feared, or we can choose to see it as an opportunity, a chance to build a better future.
I like the sound of that second option a lot better. But I also think we have to be realistic, right? It's not all sunshine and rainbows. We can't just ignore the potential downsides of AI.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, there's the potential for job displacement, economic inequality, even the misuse of AI for harmful purposes. We have to acknowledge those risks.
Okay, so we acknowledge the risks, we stay informed, we think critically about the choices we're making. But is there anything else we can do to make sure AI is a force for good in the world?
I think it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, those human skills: empathy, compassion, creativity, critical thinking, ethical decision-making. Those are the things that AI can't replicate, at least not yet.
So those are our secret weapons in the age of AI.
In a way, yeah. Those are the skills that will help us navigate this new world, make sure AI is used to enhance our lives, not control them.
I love that it's not about becoming robots ourselves, it's about becoming more human.
Exactly. Leaning into those qualities that make us unique, that make us valuable, using our intelligence, our ingenuity, and yes, even our empathy to guide AI toward a future that benefits everyone.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about the future now. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a truly fascinating conversation.
It's been a pleasure. And for those who want to explore this topic further, don't forget we'll link to the research paper and the GitHub repository with all the data in the show notes.
Yes, tons of great info there if you want to dive deeper. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those critical thinking skills sharp. You're going to need them.